All right, diving in here, we've got a whole pile of, well, stuff about this Bugsy Prime. Honestly, it's a lot.
Yeah, you sent this over and
Chocobos. Really?
looks like it, yeah. And some kind of, I don't even know, fandom stuff, Lord X.
Right? Like Mirrorverse Transformers, is that a thing?
Seems to be in Bugsy's world at least.
So where do we even start with this?
Well, I think the common thread, even with all these wild details, is Bugsy Prime himself.
Okay, yeah, he's at the center of it all.
Yeah.
But who is he really? Aside from, Chocobo Rider and but dance battle champion?
He's got this band, Schmucks for Life. Catchy, right?
Sure. But is he like actually talented, or is this a famous for being famous kind of deal?
No, there's more to it. The reports, they all talk about his charisma, like a natural leader vibe.
Do people actually want to follow him?
It's not just about giving orders, though. He's described as kind, really understanding.
So a genuinely good dude, maybe, even with all this weirdness around him?
That seems to be the consensus. And this crew of his, they're devoted. We've got Freakazoid,
Hold on, Freakazoid. Like the cartoon.
one and the same apparently, and Zorak, King K. Rool.
Wait, like Donkey Kong's nemesis?
Yeah. Funky Kong is in the mix too. And Taboo, Rance. Real mixed bag, personality-wise.
You're telling me, how do they even function as a group?
That's the thing. They argue, they bicker, but it's never mean-spirited, more like a family almost.
A very strange family. And with Bugsy as the, chill dad who keeps him in line?
It's not so much keeping them in line as giving them space to be themselves, encouraging it even.
Then there's the Chocobo. Fearless.
Ah, yes, that's a whole story in itself. Gone for years, suddenly back.
I saw that. The reactions are all over the place. King K. Rool is worried about the Chocobo shedding on his throne cushions.
Right, but underneath the humor, there's this sense of relief. Like, Fearless coming back. Like, it's a good omen, maybe.
A symbol of loyalty or something.
Yeah, maybe. Like, no matter how crazy things get, some bonds just endure.
Speaking of crazy, we've got to talk about Katara.
The newcomer. Yeah, she's an interesting piece of the puzzle. Rescued from, well, apparently some Fire Nation trouble.
Now she's hanging out with Bugsy Prime and this unusual crew.
Talk about a culture shock.
There's a report about her seeing them in action, too. Bugsy and the crew taking down some Fire Nation forces like it's nothing.
Must have been a real eye-opener for her.
Understatement of the year.
But think about it. Going from a world with strict rules to this, anything goes situation with Bugsy, that's gotta shift your perspective.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we've got Bugsy, right, kind, charismatic, but there's gotta be more to it. Why are people so drawn to him?
It's like he thrives on chaos. Remember that dance-off with Lord X? Crazy stuff.
Ah, yes. That was quite the spectacle. And that song choice, I miss the quiet. Bit ironic, don't you think?
Yeah, with all that glitching and weirdness going on.
Exactly. But maybe that's the point. Bugsy, he acknowledges the chaos, but he doesn't let it overwhelm him.
He kind of uses it, almost, like as part of his appeal.
That's a good way to put it. And the reports, they describe his dancing as smooth, effortless, total contrast to Lord X's jerky movements.
It's like he's showing everyone, hey, I can handle this. I can even make it look good.
And people respond to that. They see confidence, mastery, even in the middle of all that craziness.
And let's not forget, Bugsy's not exactly playing by the usual rules when it comes to, well, relationships.
Yes. The polyamory. That certainly sparked a lot of debate.
Definitely not your average rock star lifestyle. But is it working?
Well, the reports suggest his partners are happy, they feel respected, valued. Communication seems to be key.
So maybe Bugsy's onto something. Challenging those traditional ideas about what a relationship should look like.
Maybe he's showing us that it's not about fitting into a mold, it's about finding what works for you, for everyone involved.
As long as it's consensual and everyone's on board, who are we to judge? Becky?
Exactly. And this idea of challenging norms, it extends to his leadership style, too. He's not about control, it's more about creating the space where people can be themselves.
And it's clearly attracting a lot of attention. The fan reactions, wow.
Oh, they're passionate, that's for sure. You've got the Megatronic goon Thirstland, fascinated by all the chaos, by figures like Lord X.
And then there's the groups who are totally smitten with Bugsy himself. Kindness, charisma, the whole package.
It's proof that he's not just some one-dimensional figure. He's complex, contradictory even.
So we've got a charismatic leader, a chaotic dancer, a relationship revolutionary. What does it all add up to? What's the point of Bugsy Prime?
Maybe he's showing us a different way. A different way to lead, to connect with people, to live. He's not about power, he's about authenticity.
And empathy, too, right? From
Yeah,
what we've seen.
absolutely. He makes you wonder, is this intentional? Is he deliberately trying to shake things up?
Or is he just being Bugsy? And people are drawn to that, for better or worse.
That's a question we can keep exploring, especially when we look at his movie nights.
Movie nights, you mean with Transformers. Mirror Chronicles and Lupin the Third. That sounds a bit far-fetched even for Bugsy.
Well, stick with me here. We're supposed to treat all this like it's real, right? So maybe those aren't fictional films.
You think they're watching documentaries? About robots and master thieves?
Maybe. Or maybe Transformers, Lupin the Third. Those are code names for real-world things Bugsy's involved in.
Intriguing. So we're talking secret projects, maybe even like heists.
We can speculate,
Mm.
but let's look at the themes. Transformers, duality, opposing forces,
Good and evil, order and chaos. Bugsy's whole world, really.
and Lupin the Third. Outsmarting the system, strategy, challenging authority.
Sounds familiar.
Exactly. And why share these films with his crew? Maybe he's trying to teach them something.
Like think differently, find your own way, that kind of thing.
It's possible he's sparking discussion, encouraging them to think critically.
And what about Katara? New to all this, trying to figure things out.
These movie nights, they give her a chance to see how Bugsy's mind works, to learn from the others.
It's like Bugsy Prime 101,
Mm.
taught through unconventional documentaries.
Right. And her reactions, they're evolving. She's starting to understand.
Maybe even starting to see the value in Bugsy's approach. Back again. Still trying to wrap my head around this Bugsy Prime situation. It's like 1 minute he's leading a band, the next he's taking down, Fire Nation forces?
He doesn't fit the mold, does he? But maybe that's the point. He's redefining what leadership looks like.
Yeah, and not just leadership. Relationships, everything. Always pushing boundaries, but always seems to land on his feet.
And it's not just for show. There's a real intentionality there. He wants to create a world where people are free to be themselves fully.
Okay, but movie nights. With Transformers and Lupin the Third,
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on that.
Right. So last time we were thinking maybe those aren't just random movies.
Documentaries, maybe.
Could be, or those titles, maybe they're code names, for something real-world Bugsy's involved in.
Ooh, I like that. Secret projects, high-stakes stuff.
Possibly. But even if we don't know the exact details, the themes, they're important.
Okay, so, Transformers. We talked about duality.
Exactly. Opposing forces, finding common ground. Maybe Bugsy's trying to show his crew even enemies can work together sometimes.
And Lupin the Third, he's a thief, right?
Gentleman thief. But yeah, he's all about strategy, outsmarting the authorities, bending the rules, but for a good cause.
Sounds like Bugsy's M.O. Always finding a workaround.
Right. So he shows these films, and it sparks conversation, gets his crew thinking differently.
Like a lesson, almost.
Yeah.
But disguised as a movie night.
Subtle, but effective. And don't forget Katara. She's new to this whole world.
Yeah, she must be taking it all in. Trying to understand Bugsy, his crew, this whole philosophy they seem to have.
And these movies, they give her a glimpse into Bugsy's mind, how he sees the world.
Crash course in Bugsy Prime, taught through secret agent documentaries. Makes sense.
Her reactions are telling, too. At first, confusion. Now she's more thoughtful, like she's starting to get it.
So putting it all together, what's the takeaway here? What can we learn from this Bugsy Prime guy?
Well, for one, be yourself, even if it's out there. Like Bugsy, he's not afraid to be different.
And that draws people to him, that authenticity.
Right. And he shows us leadership doesn't have to be about control. It can be about giving people space to grow, trusting them.
Like he does with his crew.
And maybe the most important lesson, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Find your own way, even if it means bending the rules a little.
Bugsy Prime. Chaos-loving musician, relationship revolutionary, and secret agent movie buff.
We might never know the full story, but one thing's for sure, he's got us thinking.
And that's what a good deep dive is all about, right? Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back soon with another look into the strange and fascinating corners of, well, whatever this is.